Banished from Earth, Classic Game Room broadcasts from the intergalactic space arcade on its never-ending mission to review everything. Welcome to Classic Game Room. Today is an exciting day because today I combine two fanboy marks into one. It's Sega Atari Fanboy Mark bringing you the review of Buck Rogers' Planet of Zoom from Sega on the Atari Computer. How's it look? That's pretty stylish. This is the new thing, kids. This is how you wear your hat in the future. Carefully. I really can't get enough Buck Rogers, especially 1980 Buck Rogers. My friend and I just watched the entire first season on DVD. It's aged so well. It's such a great show with great music, great characters. The actors are all really good. It's totally cheesy in that wonderful late 70s, early 80s way. But it succeeds because of it. And here we have Buck Rogers' Planet of Zoom from Sega, originally released in 1982. This was an arcade game ported to numerous game systems. I reviewed it for the Atari 5200 years ago. This is basically the same game with way better controls. But just a few days ago, I reviewed Zoom 909 for the Sega SG-1000, which is also from Sega. It's like the same game, but just different. But this is definitely the superior version. This is really nice. I love the Atari XE Computer. It has such a wonderfully sharp and clear video output. You can use the Sega Genesis controller. And this is a good game to begin with. In fact, compare it to my Atari 5200 review and you'll see I got a lot further because the controls are better here. Thanks to the Sega Genesis controller instead of the 5200 joystick. No contest there. It's never a great thing in an old game when you can't tell if you've exploded and died or if you've done something well and you're being rewarded with blinky lights and some kick-ass sound effects. But in this case, I just made it to the next level where I'm supposed to shoot down a certain number of aliens or UFOs or whatever and then fight a boss battle. Yes, we've just destroyed the thing that looks like an X-Wing fighter from behind. Move on to the next level, which is a repeat of the first level, zooming through gates to score big points. You can push up and fly faster, but of course then you risk crashing into the gates, which does get pretty tricky by the second and third times you play through the game. Well, this one doesn't have too much in common with the 1979-1980 television show. Sadly, the Buck Rogers theme music, which has got to be the best TV show theme music ever, right up there with Magnum P.I., is not in the game. Neither is Gil Gerard, Tweaky, and Aaron Gray. Her costume designer should have gotten the award for the best person ever. Gosh, she looked good in that show. I actually just picked up the Buck Rogers soundtrack on vinyl for like a whopping $3, worth every penny. And this game, if you can find it, also worth every penny. It's fun. It's definitely got a Galaxy Force 2 or early Space Harrier feel to it. And I like it a lot more than Zoom 909, which has that super irritating top-down sequence that this does not seem to have. Or at least I don't think it does. I've never seen it, and I got pretty far this time around. What you've got to watch out for in Buck Rogers' Planet of Zoom is the enemies that attack you from the bottom of the screen. They come at you from behind and fly around in front of you. You want to stay perfectly still and let them move onto the screen without crashing into them. It's actually a really flawed game in that respect. Because you can't see them when they're attacking you, they just sort of show up there and you crash into them. So the trick is to stay as still as possible and not move around a whole lot, which is of course difficult when you're trying to swing left and right and slalom your way through these space gates. And there was an episode of the show where they were doing that for some kind of future Space Olympics, right? Is that the one when Erin Gray was a blonde? That worked really well with her disco glitter space spandex future outfit. And I think that was the one where there was like a defector. Nothing gives away Edie's TV shows like defectors. I love how they had to throw a Cold War era storyline into the middle of a Buck Rogers episode. I think one of my favorites had to be the one where Buck Rogers was the perfect male specimen. And he was needed for breeding on the planet of women. Thankfully, I have more Buck Rogers in my future, in addition to the awesome soundtrack album. Another fan also sent me the Buck Rogers game for the Sega Genesis, which is totally different than this. This is Buck Rogers' Planet of Zoom, which was sent by Mark and Suzanne from Planet East Meadow, New York. Thank you, Mark and Suzanne. There's just so many memorable things from that show, like anytime Buck ended up in a future disco space casino and had to basically sleep his way out of it. Dr. Theopolis was always a joy to listen to, and Tweaky was the dirtiest robot in existence. Remember the one when Tweaky had a girlfriend? Booty, booty, booty. Anytime Erin Gray walked anywhere, and of course, anytime Buck Rogers would pull out a 20th century phrase that people in the future don't understand, because in the 25th century there's no internet, and they still use CRT monitors. Thankfully, they'd all be right at home with the Atari Computer and this version of Buck Rogers' Planet of Zoom. Highly recommended! Booty, booty, booty. Aw, come on, Buck! Beady, 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 beady. Welcome to the club. It's the Lord Carnage Club, where I give thanks to these backers on Patreon. Starting with Jeff Cap Dauntless Breyer, Ohad Kane, Jack Stavros from Australia, Philip Michael Stiles of Ortona, Philip Straubenmuller of Vienna, Austria, Landon Ellerby, Justin Duran from Palm Desert, California, Steve Chucknick from New Jersey, Sean Zoltek, Rick DeBarros, Pimp Trex, Al Stiver, Chip Sankvale, Shadow Minion for Lord Carnage, Busy Signal, Jason from Kamloops, British Columbia, Will, Zach Brenner, Sergio Matthias Hergers, Jim Moriarty, Rob from Palmerston North, New Zealand, Kid Shuriken, Soft Otaku. See you next time on Classic Game Room Mark III.